Yeah. We have a fellow lefty, I guess you could say, not a fellow lefty, a leftist individual, who I mean, I'm just going to introduce him and then bring him on the panel.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all.
Good evening, Velle.
Peace and black power, everyone, man.
Wagwan.
Oh, jeez.
Iranian pain packs today, B.
Yeah. Let's see. So you had a lot to say in the chat.
Bad things to say, guys.
Please share with us. Which one was it? Was it the Chris Carver thing or is it the Tommy Robinson thing?
What were you talking about now? Tom Robinson, you're saying that
But just now we were.
the black belt barrister's video.
There's one.
The black belt barrister.
Oh yeah,
Did you watch his video on the Tom Robinson judgment?
I did. And yeah.
You know, at the end of the video, yeah, when he says that they said that he had a bad school report, yeah, but there was nothing in the school report about him having a bad school report.
Oh.
Did you?
Oh no! You're talking about different. I was watching the. I thought you were talking about black belt barrister when you talked about Tommy Robinson's incarceration and the sentence that he just recently got. You're talking about the libel case now.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. That's the reason. That's the reason he's in the jail, right?
Yeah.
He went through the original sentence, though.
Okay. So you're going back to the libel case and the reason why the video was told not to be shown.
Before you have that conversation, maybe you want to watch that video first and then have it after, innit?
Well, didn't you conclude that there was only 3 elements within that documentary that were considered false? That's what the judgment was.
That's what the judge said about the what's it called? But in the actual full court paper, like if you read the actual end judgment, it talks about the school report, because I did say that as well. It talks about the school report, that he had allegedly had a good school report. He's never been put into detention, and actually the person, one of the witnesses that was given evidence against him, he was one of the people that was actually in detention or whatever. So they couldn't verify any of the statements made by the undercover filmed teacher, or obviously the student that said that he was going to detention, because when they looked on the school record, he wasn't down for detention.
So because he'd never been given detention, you can assume that Jamal was just a upstanding schoolboy who never did anything.
No, just saying that was one of the things that they were saying, right?
But would you say it would be biased?
His school record, no, but it was saying that one of the things that they was making a claim was that his school record was bad. He's a bad kid, and this, that, and the other, right? And he's always in detention. That was what one of the teachers said on the secret filming as well, right? So when they cross-examined that to look at the actual school records, that's not come up.
So that's not strictly true. It was isolation. He said he was always in isolation.
Yeah, isolation's the detention thing, right?
Yeah, but he did get lots of detentions, which is for bad behaviour, and he got put in isolation once.
There's no school records that show that.
Yeah,
when the judge went through it, well, look through it yourself, innit? Download the court thing, Bobs, and then show where it says where they said he was always in isolation.
It said he was in isolation once. So once couldn't be considered something that was repetitive, but he was put in detention.
That wasn't the claim that was made, though, right? That he was just in there once.
No, the claim was that he'd been in isolation continuously a lot of the time.
And then they couldn't find none of that sort of stuff there. Obviously, the stuff with the girl, they spoke about the girl, but he concentrated on different evidence, where I was concentrated on the stuff that I thought would have been probably more important to people like you guys, like the external witnesses, like doctors, therapists, and so, correlating what the person said. Because I'm sure that if the doctors and the therapists correlated what the girl said, there's no way that you would be saying you shouldn't believe the doctor. You shouldn't believe the doctor.
No, what I'm saying is, if the judges had put what Tommy found and the testimonies into admission, then he would have come to a different conclusion. So, but we know under the law that you can't do covert. You can't use covert recordings under the law. So the judge was lawful, but the fact of the matter is, it doesn't mean that in reality, that these people did make the claims that they did, and that there was evidence suggest that they were.
I big up multiculturalism, man. Some people are celebrating Diwali out here, man.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't care about
and
that.
these British streets. Hey,
Why
but
do you
listen though,
be bothered about that?
you see that with the claims made or whatnot. If especially that with the teachers that was undercover filmed or whatnot, the court just can't accept one-sided claims, right? They need to be cross-examined by both sides. So if they're not willing to turn up and be cross-examined, their evidence ain't going to be held as evidence to be taken seriously, right? You get that?
No, the fact is, Velle, that the people that he secretly recorded were not going to. Those recordings are not going to be admissible anyway in court.
Banksy, if you was in court, yeah, and someone was trying to bring evidence against you, which was just a secret recording, and your barrister couldn't question the person that's making the comments or whatever, would you say that was fair evidence to bring to the court?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that those secret recordings and the people that said the things they said were not going to be admissible in court. Number one, the recording was done without their consent, and number two, those people were all under NDAs for the money that they took, so they wouldn't have been able to come to court and give evidence.
Okay.
So those recordings and the evidence that was shown in those recordings were never going to see the light of day, as far as the court was concerned.
See, that's a false claim. That's a false claim. You can give court in evidence even though you're under NDA, and you can get Tommy Robinson could have got my man summons to court if he thought his evidence was so strong that it would have made him be able to back case.
It's my understanding in that court case, he represented himself and the funds were low.
Yeah, that's right, because he didn't have all the money for the kind of high level lawyers anyway. So in the libel case, was it libel or was it slander? I think it might have been slander case. Anyway, the case that was brought in from Jamal's side, Tommy didn't have the kind of high-flying lawyers to cross-examine and to do this and to do that. You got to realize that whole thing was a bit of a sham and a misjustice anyway, because you didn't have the kind of money to take that case to the level that it does, because he didn't even think, because that kind of case you can't go to prison for anyway. You're not going to go to prison for libel cases.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he did in the end, because when obviously the injunction has been made to not speak about these sort of terms, the next thing, if you carry on doing that, is that you'll get brought back to court.
But that's the thing. That was much after.
And then, but that's what happened.
That's why people support
because you wait. Because you was found to be liable in the first case, is the only reason why you can get the contempt charge in the second place. Because how could you get a contempt charge if you wasn't found liable in the first place?
Yeah, but we're not saying that. It's like you don't understand where we're coming from. We're not saying that the judge, within the confines of the law, didn't make the correct judgment, because we know that you can't use covert recordings in a court of law because you haven't got the people's permission. And also the people at NDAs. You're saying, but he could have still called him in. He represented himself. So those things were challenging in the first place. But what we're saying is that in reality, after seeing what he put together in silence, you can quite clearly see that the court of the law as it stands isn't probably always the correct way to go about things, because at the end of the day, if people in reality had seen all of that stuff, the conclusion would have been different. And the fact of the matter is that there was proof that wasn't brought to the courts, that wasn't and put together with the testimonies that were taken covertly, actually prove that actually Jamal wasn't the A-star student that everybody said he was. And whilst we understand, the judge made the judgment that he did because he was restrained because of the laws, he was aware of what was in that video and then put an injunction on it. When if he hadn't have put an injunction, Tommy would have been able to put that video out, but they wouldn't allow that because they didn't want the whole can of worms being opened, because the media and everybody else had started the frenzy into Jamal and not Tommy Robinson. They used it as an excuse, and that
What
is
do you mean?
why we
That's
think there's no
the
judgment.
reason. Listen, the reason why the liable charge was moved because there was claims being made about the boy in the video that wasn't able to be proved to be true. That's why the whole thing is liable.
But Tommy Robinson was a
The three claims
journalist.
that they brought.
Hold
So
on.
listen, the three claims that they brought against
Yes.
against Tommy Robinson or whatever was all proven to be liable because of the three different statements
But
that
it
he
wasn't Tommy.
wasn't able to prove.
If that's the case, it wasn't Tommy Robinson who made the libelous claims. All Tommy Robinson did was report that these were the claims that these people made. And those claims, by the way, were made before Tommy even knew them.
Precisely. You see, the problem is what people like Velle and the leftists sort of miss is not really.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
Hold on. Let me get this statement. Let me get this
How's
statement.
the problem with me when it's Tommy Robinson that's been in jail right now for the liable thing?
Because
So the
they've set
problem
him
with
up.
me, yeah? They set him up, bloody hell.
Yeah, the fact is that they, as I say, they kind of focused it on him, even though it was the other people who actually made those claims, and he simply reported on what they said. What they're saying is that he should have done his due diligence and check that these claims that these people made were truthful before he published his documentary. That's why it's on him, because of the way that they interpret the way they've basically done it. Even though no other reporter, no other journalist has been imprisoned for this type of work. They've been they've published whatever work that they had. There's been some kind of libel or slander case that's been taken up. They've gone to court. Some fees, like the new. Come on, if you look at all these celebrities that have sued places like the Times, the Sun, the Mirror, the fact is that most of these people end up paying some kind of fee, but none of those reporters have ever seen inside of a jail for making inaccurate claims about someone.
What they said inside the thing here was that
can I speak for a second?
It didn't go viral. First of all, the original story.
Sorry, Velle, hold on, Slim. Give me 1 minute. Let Velle finish, and then you can go because I can't actually hear both of you at the same time.
All right. So if the thing didn't go viral, first of all, like it's that's what Black Belt Barrister said that the judge said in the summarization. Yeah. So if the thing didn't go viral in the first place or whatever, then it would have still just been left as a tit for tat school child argument or whatever. But because
that was
it went
down
viral,
to the parent and the solicitor. That was down to Jamal's father and the solicitor friend and the media.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Slim. I see you next. Hold on. Let Slim go. Let Slim go.
Tommy was this time around put in jail because he didn't do it as the court told him last time around, because he re-released that video.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with the details of the court or the details of the witnesses. He actually broke, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just stating the facts. He broke the commandments of the court who told him not to re-release or play that video. So this time he's actually in for contempt of court.
Yeah.
So none of what
that's true. Yeah, but Velle is trying to go back to the beginning. But even if you take that aside, you're right. There was an injunction put out, and he broke the injunction. But he broke it on a point of principle, just like Rosa Parks sitting at the back of the bus.
man. Sorry, brother. That's not no Rosa Parks business, man. Stop it.
Yes, it is.
She disobeyed. She
disobeyed
the law.
It's not the same circumstances here. Rosa Parks sat down on the bus because black people wasn't allowed to sit at the front of the bus.
Yeah.
And Tommy Robinson
hasn't published the video that he wasn't allowed to publish.
The video of him talking about Jamal Hijazi or whatever, because he thought he took the other side of the argument, and then the courts ended up taking Jamal's side in the argument.
Yeah,
it's like a school kid's argument,
which shows. See, this is actually the core of
Rosa Parks. Behave yourself.
The problem is that the reason you're missing the entire point of this is that you are focused on whether he libeled this kid or not, whilst the reality isn't about that. Isn't about that. The video isn't actually about Jamal. The video is about the system and how it tries to build a narrative, create frame a narrative, and then perpetually push that narrative, and
Narrative that
regardless
you
of
haven't got
any truth
to
or
prove
any
your
other
side,
thing.
then you're
And
wrong.
it was a video to
Narrative.
actually show how the media, the mainstream media, and the government are
Bro,
in
listen.
collusion. We don't
Is
actually
though,
have
yeah,
a
is that
free
if
media.
Tommy
You
Robinson would
missed
have
that
won this case,
entire
yeah,
point,
you'd be
and you're
talking about.
focused on whether this Jamal
You
kid
keep
is
talking
being
about this
libeled or
being
not. That isn't the
You keep
point of the
saying that
video.
it's about the liable, bro. You keep saying it's not about the liable or whatever. The point is that the whole system is against Tommy Robinson or whatever, and that hasn't been proven to be true in this case or hearing either. It's
Sorry.
because it was, listen, Tommy Robinson is the reason that he's in jail right now, right? He decided to repeat the same claim and then do the one in Leicester Square. Like, fuck it, I'm doing it in Leicester Square. Who
Yeah,
done that?
on point of principle, he showed it.
What was the
Yes.
principle then? What was the principle of what?
So
The fact that
the principle is this, right? There's many principles actually. That the mainstream media, to run a story in the first instance to back up claims of racism at the school, which was what the first instance was, yeah,
yes,
and to put that out into the media, they were willing to have collateral damage of a 15-year-old white child and brand him racist, turn the whole world against him, which caused him to try to kill himself. That's the first thing. The second thing is that when Tommy went down there to report on it and to say that it's not as they said it was, that this child wasn't this sweet, innocent A-star pupil, and that it wasn't about racism. It was to do with the fact that he was
That
bullying
wasn't
other kids
proven.
in the school. Yeah. That's what
That
they
wasn't proven.
Yeah, but that's what they went to court
It
for. It
wasn't
wasn't.
about
Yes, but
student.
hold on, Velle. It wasn't proven because he couldn't put into court the covert tapes. But if the public had been aware of what the people were saying and what was found to be true at the school, because the school even got shut down,
and
right?
the cover up.
And the cover up. They would have realised that actually Tommy Robinson was quite right. This was more not. In fact, the judge in that black belt barrister, when he spoke, he talked about what the judge said. The judge said, if it hadn't gone viral, it would have stayed exactly as it was. And that is the fault of the media, not Tommy Robinson. And Tommy
But I didn't say it's Tommy
Robinson's
Robinson's fault it
whole
went viral.
point.
It's
Yes.
Tommy
Yeah, but
Robinson's fault for repeating libel claims after being found guilty of the libel
Tommy
thing.
Robinson's whole point was that Bailey was not a racist. It wasn't based on racism. It was all a big lie, and that it was just a playground scrap. So, in fact,
could
the
have done all
judge
that
actually
without-
backed up Tommy.
Exactly.
all
It
that
was
without-
simply a
could have done all that.
playground bullying incident at best, which has happened a million times across 1,000 schools in this country for the last eon, and it would have would have been passed without any incident whatsoever. It was the government and the mainstream media that made this what it is. And one person out of all of these supposed journalists in the world decided maybe there's a different side to this story. Maybe that kid that is now, his life is in danger and he has to go into hiding because some people call him, some people have labeled him as some racist bigot. Maybe that kid has a voice as well, should have a voice as well, should have a say. Maybe his side of the story should also be heard. And because of that crime of trying to sit down and actually get the 15-year-old kid's side of the story, he is now in prison.
Hey, sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm just in the shop. I've just got card though, that's it.
Sorry, I can't. Is it me or is Velle very muffled?
Yeah, and there's also a background noise of
There's a background noise and it's
breathing.
very muffled. It's
Yo.
really struggling.
Your thing's making a background noise, a chipping noise over there. Well done, brother. Good, yeah? More points, brother. Sorry, brother. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yo, listen,
making-
yeah? Sorry. It's hard out on the streets, isn't it, yeah? But anyway, like I was saying, yeah? That, so, for the libel case then, yeah? So, obviously, like the black belt barrister read out at the end, and he's obviously like a Tommy Robinson supporter, so that's why I was thinking, wow, if you man hear what he's saying, then you'll take it as actually a fair judgment, right? Because he supports the dude. So even when he read out the judgment and the findings at the end, he sounded obviously without the evidence to prove any of the claims that they're making, and actually evidence that actually contradicts the claims that's being made, then that's the reason why it was a libel thing, isn't it? Literally, that's the reason.
Velle, what is it you don't hear? What is it? Let me try and explain it to you again. What is it you don't
Listen,
hear?
stop fucking saying that, man. Stop fucking saying that.
because
Are you
you
stupid
keep
or what?
look, you're losing
Yeah,
it.
but are
Again.
you mad though? Because how can you keep saying that? What haven't I heard here? When I literally just made a point about something that's actually factual within the case, and you're asking me what don't I hear? What haven't you heard?
Right, because you keep repeating the same thing.
I know.
Okay.
It's like
And
everything
you
we
don't
say just
seem
goes
to grasp.
straight
We
over.
These lot
are
are not
not
agreeing that Tommy
arguing.
Robinson is found
We
guilty
are not
or is
arguing that
liable
the
for the case.
judge. Right. We are not arguing that the judge found him guilty in the first libel case because we know that he was constrained by the law. But we know that in reality, these people knew that Jamal was a bad person. There is
How?
records to show that he wasn't a
But there
star
isn't though.
pupil.
There
Yes,
isn't.
there is.
See, that's
Yes,
the actual point. Because if you would have let me finish, yeah, you would have listened to the whole thing of what I would have said. And the actual thing of what like I was making was that black belt barrister read at the end to say that they've read through his school reports in court to show that no, he wasn't this main troublemaker kid and having bad reports. He wasn't always in detention and all that sort of stuff there. So you should fucking listen.
Right. So they said that he did go to detention quite often, but but he wasn't in isolation all the time, which is not what you've just said. Secondly, there is actual
I'll tell you what, yeah, bring the proof
there
of
is
that,
actual evidence in silence. I don't know if you've watched it, but in silence, the film, the evidence is actually shown on camera. Okay, and it's actually shown on camera where they have altered the documents that were taken to court.
Exactly.
Also, right?
and documents that they've taken to court. Yeah?
Of the altered documents that were taken to court, we have the testimony of the people that were actually tutoring that child at the time, which actually
You're saying
tells
that the
us
court
the
is
real
accepting altered
story.
documents, even though they can prove that there's real documents out there, and it's not the thing. Oh, come on, man! This is conspiracy 101.
The fact is, Velle,
listen.
you're
This is the way
hinging,
this is, like,
you're
you were
hanging
trying to
on
say
the
that
fact
I'm
that
mad.
there was no documented evidence of this kid being in detention. Whilst we know that these things can be manipulated, they may not have even documented the fact that he was given detention,
Wouldn't
even
they
though he
document
was. And
Why
you're
wouldn't they?
dismissing. You're saying that we should dismiss the
Why wouldn't
actual
not
testimonies
sure.
of the people who talked about Jamal, but because we have to dismiss them because they're all automatically racist.
It wasn't
Whilst
no, because
the doctored
no. You fucking lying piece of shit.
paperwork
I never
is the
said
stuff
one
we should
time.
believe.
All I said is that they wasn't cross-examined. They wasn't cross-examined once. So stop fucking lying.
Yes,
you
because
cunt.
those people cannot be cross-examined. They were on their NDAs, and they were also the videos were
So,
recorded in
Banksy,
secret. These people were not going to tell the truth in court
when you're
because the only way Tommy managed to get that truth out of them was in secret
listen.
recordings. They were not.
Listen.
None of those people are going to come to court and actually admit it in open court the things they said. That's why it had to be done under secret recordings.
Alright, listen, yeah. If you was in court and someone was making a claim against you, and they only had a secret recording, and they couldn't cross-examine this evidence, would you say that this is actual fair evidence that can be brought to the court against you?
The fact is that quite obviously the judge can literally say what evidence can be presented and what cannot be presented.
Exactly. Evidence that's not fucking being able to be cross-examined.
And so all of those secret recordings would not be admissible in court. But that doesn't mean they weren't true.
No, but it doesn't mean they're false either. It doesn't mean they're fucking right, or it doesn't mean they're wrong. They can't be cross-examined.
You see, the problem
Yeah,
is,
but that's
Velle,
down to you to make out when you've watched Silence.
not-
We've watched it, and
not
we
down
can
to me to make out.
understand that Tommy Robinson didn't get justice in
It's
the
really for
courtroom.
you to understand. Users to understand that the case was lost because the evidence went against the claims made in silence.
no, that's the
Yes.
thing. That's where we differ in opinion.
No, that's
Because
not true.
that is why
Even
I
Black
don't
Belt Barrister said
believe
that.
the courts. I don't believe
Black
that the
Belt
courts
thought,
are a
yeah.
fair
Tell you what,
place
yeah.
anymore.
I'll jump
We
off
have
now,
lost
go.
our confidence in that. Do you believe
Listen,
that they told
I'll
you
jump
the correct information about the thing that you had, the jab that you had to get in 2020, 2021? Do you believe that was correct information that the medical industry gave you?
Are you saying that's a conspiracy?
No, I'm just trying to point out that we are losing faith
cognitive
in core
dissonance is one of your-
institutions. One is medical, one is the judicial.
Unbelievable. That the jib jab is what? What about it?
What I'm trying to tell you is, do you believe that everything they told you about those jib jabs were accurate?
Who? The medical industry.
Yes. What the government and the medical industry told you that you should get the particular thing in 2020 and 2021, were they accurate about that? Were they right?
Evidence that he can't provide to be true. What's that got to do with that, though?
I'm trying to tell you that the fact that the fact is, in court, it's not about what's true or just. It is about what you can pass and get away with in court. What you can submit as evidence and what you cannot submit as evidence. It's not about finding the truth. It's about what you can prove to be truthful from your side.
I mean, it wasn't even a waterboarding, for God's sake. They lied from the off.
Well, that's news reporting. That's not what the court said, though, is it?
No, the fact is, Velle.
Wait, hold on a second.
Velle,
wait.
Can you admit to this?
Hold on.
Can you admit to this? Can you admit to this? Have there been criminals?
Robinson found guilty for saying Bailey poured water on his face.
Listen, Velle. Can you admit to this? Has there been criminals who have committed crimes who have got away with that crime because the court was not able to prove that they were guilty?
What are you talking about, bro? Listen,
Does this happen?
In this case here. Yeah, in this case, that's not the case, though, right?
Because no. I didn't ask you about this case. I said,
but let me give my answer, bro.
Is that a possibility?
You can't take how I answer. You answer the question. Let me give my answer. Yeah. In this case, this is not the case.
That's not what I asked. You said you answered the questions that I asked. I didn't ask you that.
I said yes. People can get away with crimes.
So we know that there is a way to manipulate your case in order to win or lose.
What's the worth of keep trying to cut off if you're not even going to let me finish my point? You're going to let me finish the point?
Continue.
Like I was saying, yeah, was that if the evidence goes otherwise, like if you're making a claim or you need to defend yourself and you're making claims against someone and the evidence that is brought shows the opposite of the claims that you're making, then you're obviously wrong. Why can't you accept that?
It's not whether I can accept it. I'm trying to tell you that
that's what you need to do. You have to accept
this
it. That's
case is irrelevant whether he was proven to be guilty or innocent in court. That is not where we're making the judgment on. It's the fact is that in court he may have been not able to give the sufficient evidence to find himself innocent in court. But the truth about this situation is separate from what he could evidence in court.
Why are you not crazy?
Why do you think
why you're being crazy? Wait, now let me finish my statement first of all. Back to Banksy, innit? Because he just made the point to me. Yeah, it's like, bro, why are you not accepting like the actual proper factual evidence when it comes down to any sort of other argument or whatever? When the cold hard facts are presented on the table to show that it leans one way or the other, when you're not emotionally attached to it, you will point out, look, the fact says this, so you have to say that. But this time, because you're emotionally attached, you're not doing that.
But that's the problem, Velle. You're actually emotionally attached to this because you are so emotionally attached that you're ignoring the actual video that was produced, and you haven't even seen the video. You are just simply saying because it wasn't proven in court to be true. It's the same as personally. I don't believe that O.J. Simpson was an innocent man. I don't believe O.J. Simpson was an innocent man, even though he was proven in court to be an innocent man.
And you're trying to say my judgment is biased.
That's how I'm approaching this.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Let me just make this quick point, right?
Why
can you not see the injustice that a 15-year-old kid who stood up for his little sister, which is British culture, by the way, yeah? Everybody knows that in every household in Britain. That
there was no evidence to prove that.
Stick up for your siblings, right?
Why are you accepting stuff with no evidence?
Hold on. Why do you accept that that's okay for his name to be plastered all over the media, him to be branded a racist? But this terrorist that was 18-year-old who actually slaughtered 3 girls, you think it's okay for them to hold back because they're looking into the circumstances?
Sorry, bear with
Because
me.
we work with
Bear with me,
facts, not
Belly.
feelings,
One second.
that's
James, I had to put you in the back for a few minutes. I'm going to put because I don't have enough room for Wendy and
We work with
Mossad,
facts,
and
not
then I'll
feelings,
start
innit? Yeah,
rotating you
listen,
guys.
I need
Thank
to
you.
jump off. Hey, I'm going to jump off and you can add my man back on, innit? Yeah,
No,
because
no,
I
no,
need to
no. It's
jump
fine.
off
It's
still.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, bro,
You're
I've
actually
got to run off still anyway, man, because I need to jump off still. Like I was saying, obviously,
make your
working with
final
facts.
points if you like, and then
Right,
go.
thanks, bro. Working with facts and not feelings means that's the reason why I accept the court's judgments, isn't it? Like, if Tommy Robinson was actually able to prove that what he was saying was true, then I would have accepted what he was saying was true. Because he wasn't able to prove what he was saying was true in evidence. When he brought his evidence, it actually started to contradict the things that he said was true and started to prove that the other side was telling the truth. We have to accept that evidence. Like,
Okay,
all right, good night.
Veli, just before you leave, he's gone now. I just wanted to, if he's still here listening, I don't know whether he might be listening or not, but so I take it if he takes the court's judgment to be valid. In fact, the recent case that I'm about to point out wasn't just a judge, but it was in fact a jury of our peers who found the police officer who shot Chris Carver to be innocent. Thus, it was a righteous kill that the police officer shot Chris Carver. Correct? If
Yeah.
we're to be consistent, then it's perfectly fine to accept that Chris Carver's killing was a perfectly legitimate killing. The jury found it to be legitimate, so that's got to be it, right? So what's all the protests about? What's all the complaining about?
No, they can
some people don't accept
complain
it.
about that. Yeah, they can complain about that, but